Chosen one. What if I told you that something has already been written in heaven concerning you, a divine event already set in motion that is going to interrupt your entire life? And what if I told you it's coming before the year ends? Would you still sleep tonight? Or would your spirit stay up watching, weeping, and wondering what God is about to do? This isn't just another Christmas, and you are not the same person you were last December. Heaven knows it, hell knows it, and now, so will you. Because right now, yes, right now, your name is echoing in places you can't see yet. Doors are shaking, angels are moving, and the enemy is terrified, not of your past, not even of your present, but of what's about to wake up inside of you. The strange tension you've been feeling, the sudden delays, the spiritual heaviness, right when you thought you'd finally reached peace. That's not random. It's a reaction, a sign that darkness has caught wind of something coming your way, something it can't stop, only try to distract you from. If you can sense this in your spirit, comment 777 below right now. You're not just watching, you're stepping into alignment. And if you've ever supported this message with a super thanks, please know this. We see you, we honor you, and we thank you deeply. Your gift is helping awaken more chosen ones just like you, right on time. But now I need to ask you something, and don't brush this off. Why is hell so desperate to keep you distracted this December? Why is the pressure increasing right before Christmas, when everything around you says it should be a season of peace? Because behind the noise, something sacred is about to be revealed. And it's not just a message, it's a mandate. So stay right here, because in the next few moments, I'm going to uncover the truth that hell doesn't want you to hear. And once you see it, you'll never look at this Christmas the same again. God's chosen ones, if you knew what's coming. This Christmas, you wouldn't sleep tonight. Chosen one, lean in for this, because what's unfolding this Christmas is not casual, not ordinary. In the unseen realm, there is no peace. Hell is in full panic mode, but not because of the you from last year. The fear is rooted in who you're becoming now. The version of you that is rising, stronger, wiser, and fully awakened to divine purpose, is what terrifies darkness. You've carried silent financial battles like armor beneath your clothing. You've shown up to work, to worship, to family dinners with a smile, even while your soul was weary from secretly juggling bills and broken dreams. You've praised God while calculating whether you could afford the next meal. And yet, you kept going. You didn't lose your praise. You didn't lose your hope. Isn't that incredible? Why do you think you had the strength to keep showing up? Because God placed something unshakable inside you. And now, He's not just watching from heaven, He's moving on your behalf. What's being released this December is not just a blessing. It's not just peace for your mind. It's power for your life. Power to reverse delay. Power to reclaim lost years. And power to manifest what's been incubating in silence. This is a spiritual turning point. The Bible in Deuteronomy 8 declares that it is the Lord your God who gives you the ability to create wealth. Not your boss, not the economy, not even your intelligence. When that God-given ability is blocked or sabotaged, it's like having seeds with no soil. No matter how good they are, they can't grow. Have you felt like your efforts lately haven't been bearing fruit? Like something invisible was resisting your forward movement? That's not just misfortune, it's spiritual opposition. And yet, chosen one, the tide is turning. That power to generate, to build, to sustain, to overflow, it's being restored right now. Just like the widow in 2 Kings 4 who thought all she had was a small jar of oil, you may have underestimated what's still in your hands. But when she obeyed and poured what she had, multiplication came. Could it be that God is waiting for you to pour before He multiplies? Let me tell you a real story that still moves me. A close friend of mine, a single mother, was months behind on rent during Christmas 2 years ago. She prayed, cried, and fought despair every night. Then, one morning, a woman she barely knew at her church handed her a check with the exact amount she needed, whispering, "God told me to give this to you." That Christmas, she didn't just receive money, she received confirmation that heaven had heard her. I've been there too. There was a time when I was putting on a bold front for everyone around me, but inside I was exhausted, spiritually and financially. The warfare didn't look like demonic dreams or nightmares. It looked like job rejections, drained accounts, and the feeling of being overlooked. But now I see it. That was the season right before God broke the silence and opened an unexpected door. Could your delay actually be the setup for your breakthrough? And look at the pattern. Every time something holy is about to be birthed, the enemy launches a counterattack. Remember when King Herod was so threatened by the prophecy of Jesus' birth that he ordered the death of every male infant in Bethlehem. He didn't know exactly where Jesus was, so he tried to destroy all of them. The enemy operates in fear, not precision. That's why your finances have been under attack. He's trying to stop what's about to be born in you. Because when a chosen one rises after the fire, they don't just walk out. They emerge as a weapon, a walking testimony, a financier of kingdom causes, a restorer of generational wealth. Think of Tyler Perry, who was once homeless and living in his car, yet through divine resilience, his obedience, and his creativity, he became one of the most influential voices in media. He's not just successful, he's anointed to rebuild what was once broken. Could that also be your story? Hell is afraid of the version of you who no longer hesitates to obey. The version of you who funds visions instead of just dreaming them. The you who doesn't back down when pressure rises, but walks forward knowing who your provider is. And that's why the attacks have increased, because you're closer than ever. Chosen one, don't be surprised if the next few weeks feel intense. Birth is always painful before it's beautiful. But this Christmas, something divine is coming. It's already in motion. And if you feel the fire increasing, it's not punishment, it's preparation. Drop a 999 in the comments if this word resonates with what you've been feeling but couldn't explain. You're not the only one under pressure. You're part of a chosen remnant being activated. This season isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your release. Chosen one, can you feel the trembling? Not within you, but around you. Something in the spiritual atmosphere is shifting violently, and it's not your fear shaking the ground. It's the enemy's. Hell is in panic, because what once kept you bound is now being broken, one link at a time. The financial chains that kept you quietly surviving instead of boldly thriving are being shattered. These weren't random hardships. The enemy meticulously orchestrated moments of sudden loss, unpredictable income, and emotional exhaustion, not just to slow you down, but to drain your joy right before this holy season. But this Christmas, God is interrupting the pattern. He's dismantling the system that once ensured your delay. Have you noticed the repetition in your journey? Seasons where you rebuilt from ashes, again and again. Times you smiled in public while bleeding in private. How many mornings did you wake up pretending things were stable, even when chaos loomed behind your bank statements? The enemy has watched you walk dangerously close to collapse, and yet you didn't crumble. Could it be that this resilience was not just survival, but training? Because now that persistence is converting into heaven's momentum, the season of scraping by is drawing to a close. No more budgeting with fear. No more nights staring at overdue notices, praying you didn't miss something. And this isn't happening because you suddenly got lucky or discovered a new strategy. It's not your hustle that's bringing the shift. It's God's hand. His mercy, His timing. You're not entering a new level because of effort alone. You're entering it because of covenant. Just as the widow in Zarephath thought her last bit of flour and oil signaled her end, the divine encounter with Elijah revealed the opposite. What she thought was a burial became a birthing. What if that's what God is doing with your lack right now? When I was at my lowest, barely able to afford rent with no clear direction, I remember thinking, is this really how the story ends? But something wouldn't let me give up. I didn't realize it then, but I was being positioned for a pivot. And when provision finally came, it wasn't through the channel I expected. It came through an unexpected relationship, a call I almost ignored. Sometimes your overflow is hidden in the obedience you haven't acted on yet. The enemy is trembling now because he sees it too. The pattern is being broken, and worse, for him it won't return. This time you're not stepping into temporary relief. You're stepping into permanent reversal. The spiritual resistance has intensified because your next step isn't just about survival, it's about strategy. What God is birthing in you is not just for bills, it's for blueprints, for building, for legacy. Think about Nehemiah. He wasn't just blessed with the resources to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he was given strategy from heaven. He didn't only receive permission from the king, he received favor, materials, and divine timing. And he used it all not for himself, but for the people of God. Could the pressure you've been under be preparing you for a similar assignment, one that blesses generations beyond you? Consider also the story of Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks. He grew up in housing projects, watching his father struggle with low-paying jobs and medical bills. He once said he never forgot the dignity his father lost in that struggle. And now, the company he built offers healthcare to its employees because Schultz didn't just succeed, he turned struggle into strategy. Isn't that exactly what's happening in your life? Your lack is being replaced with legacy. Your struggle is transforming into strategy. And this time, you're not going back to zero. You're stepping into overflow. Not just for yourself, but for every assignment, every person, every vision that God intends to bless through you. That's why the warfare feels personal, because it is. If this word speaks to your journey, if you felt the cycles and the frustration, drop a 111 in the comments. You're not alone in this. Many are walking through the fire, but you're also walking toward fulfillment. Chosen one, have you ever stopped to wonder if the sudden disruptions in your life weren't meant to break you, but to build you? What if the shifts you've been experiencing lately, closed doors, vanished opportunities, strange detours, aren't setbacks at all, but signals? What if the very things you've labeled as losses are actually divine cues that heaven is about to reveal something extraordinary this Christmas? It might look like instability, but it's really intervention. Hell isn't terrified because you're collapsing. It's terrified because God is quietly repositioning you. And when God repositions a chosen one, history bends. Pause and reflect on this. Before Abraham ever held the promised child, he had to leave everything familiar, his father's house, his comfort, his cultural foundation, and follow God into the unknown. That was not a step of logic. It was a step of alignment. Before Joseph became the second most powerful man in Egypt, he endured betrayal, slavery, imprisonment, and yet every step was a strategic repositioning for something bigger than he could have imagined. And Peter, the miracle didn't come when he fished from routine. It came when Jesus told him to cast his net on the other side, into unfamiliar waters. What if the very reason your life feels unrecognizable right now is because you're being pulled out of routine and into the miraculous? God doesn't shift you for punishment. He shifts you for positioning. This isn't loss. It's not rejection. It's divine preparation. Heaven is aligning you with prophetic fulfillment, bringing your feet to the exact coordinates of destiny that were written long before you were born. That recent moment of confusion, that job that didn't work out, that financial door that unexpectedly closed? Could it be that God is removing the distractions that no longer serve your assignment? I remember a time when I felt completely disoriented, career stalled, income unstable, options fading fast. I begged God for clarity, but instead of answers, I got silence, followed by a sudden relocation opportunity that made no sense. I almost said no, but saying yes to that uncertain door led to connections, resources, and revelations that changed the trajectory of my life. It wasn't punishment, it was a prophetic placement. I see now, it had to be uncomfortable so I wouldn't resist the move. Hell is panicking not because of your past, but because of your positioning. Once you land in the right place, at the right time, with the right spirit, your influence becomes volcanic. Just like David didn't plan to face Goliath that day, he was just delivering food to his brothers, but divine timing met divine location, and a shepherd became a warrior in a single afternoon. What if you're closer to that moment than you think? This Christmas, the fog is beginning to lift. The alignment is becoming unmistakable. The warfare around your finances, emotions, and stability hasn't been chaos, it's been calibration. Your coordinates are being fine-tuned, and you're not being removed, you're being strategically relocated. Spiritually, emotionally, even physically, God is setting you down in a place where favor will find you without you having to chase it. Just look at Esther. Long before the plot to destroy her people was revealed, she was already positioned in the palace. The setup came before the threat. God placed her where she needed to be, in advance, to accomplish something only she was anointed to do. What if your recent shift is just like hers? What if you're already standing in the location of your next assignment, even if you don't yet recognize the reason you were brought there? And look at the life of Viola Davis, once raised in extreme poverty, struggling with hunger and trauma in her early years. At the time, her pain felt like aimless suffering, but she later said it was those very experiences that gave her the emotional depth to become one of the most powerful actresses of our generation. Her struggle positioned her for a stage she couldn't have accessed otherwise. Could it be that your past has also shaped you into the only person qualified for what's coming? Chosen one, this repositioning is not random. It's prophetic, it's precise, and it's happening now. You're not being pushed out, you're being placed in. Drop 333 in the comments if something inside you resonates with this truth. Heaven is placing you exactly where impact can be multiplied, and this time you will know why. Chosen one, what if the very moments that felt like loss were actually heaven's hand protecting you? What if the doors that shut, the people who left, and the dreams that collapsed were not signs of failure, but evidence of divine rescue? While the world around you wraps gifts and plans celebrations, heaven is wrapping something far more strategic, your realignment. And that's why hell is trembling. It's not panicking because something is being taken from you. It's panicking because God is about to give you something your old environment couldn't contain. Sometimes, before God increases your provision, He first disrupts your position. Can you see it now? The loss of that job, the breakdown of that relationship, the sudden sense that this place no longer fits. Those weren't punishments. They were precursors to promotion. Before new fruit can grow, old roots often have to be torn up. And before a tree can reach new heights, it must sometimes be transplanted to better soil. Could this season be your spiritual transplant? Just as God led the Israelites through the wilderness with a cloud by day and fire by night, never leaving them in one place too long, He's been guiding you too, sometimes in silence, often through discomfort, but always with intention. They couldn't stay in Egypt. They couldn't even stay in the desert. Their promise was ahead, and movement was required. When God begins to shift your surroundings, it rarely feels soft. It feels like endings, like sudden change, like instability. But what if that's actually everything falling into alignment? Let me ask you this. Have your relationships recently shifted in unexpected ways? Have old circles gone quiet, or have familiar faces become distant? Has your job suddenly felt heavy, even toxic? Have you sensed a holy unrest in your spirit that you can't quite explain? That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Heaven knows when an environment no longer serves your future, and when that moment comes, God doesn't wait for you to fully understand. He moves, even if you still have questions. He positions, even if you're still grieving the exit. He reroutes, even when you thought the old path was secure. In my own life, one of the most painful shifts came right before one of the greatest breakthroughs. I was let go from a project I had poured my heart into. I felt rejected, discarded, and uncertain. But within weeks, I received an opportunity that stretched me, blessed me, and prepared me for a much bigger assignment. Looking back now, I realize it wasn't rejection, it was redirection, and it had to hurt, or I never would have moved. The word in Isaiah 43 says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" But that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes we don't perceive it. We only feel the loss, the chaos, the silence. But meanwhile, heaven is orchestrating a shift that will place you exactly where your blessing will recognize you. No striving, no fighting, no delay. When the move is God's, nothing can block what's meant to arrive. Think of Ruth. After losing her husband, she followed Naomi into unfamiliar territory, away from everything she knew. At first glance, it looked like tragedy, but in that move, she stepped into her future, into Boaz's field, into lineage, into legacy. If she had clung to what she lost, she never would have received what was already waiting. Could your current discomfort be the prelude to a Ruth-like redirection? Or consider Steve Harvey, once homeless, sleeping in his car, facing closed doors and rejection after rejection. It looked like failure, but it was God rerouting him. Today, he's not just successful. He's used his platform to speak boldly about faith and perseverance, reaching millions. What looked like delay was simply divine timing. So, chosen one, if you've been asking, why is everything shifting? Maybe the better question is, what is God preparing me to receive? This repositioning is not random, it's revelation in motion. This Christmas, while others may see lights and gifts, you're being handed something eternal, access. And with that access comes responsibility, authority, and favor. Hell is trembling because it knows, once you enter the new, the old won't have a hold on you ever again. No more circling back to what drained you. No more returning to the places that tolerated but never celebrated you. No more settling in spaces your calling outgrew. This time you're moving forward, and nothing will stop what heaven has ordained. If your spirit feels this shift, drop an 888 in the comments. You're not just changing locations, you're stepping into a prophecy fulfilled. Chosen one, what if I told you the divine repositioning you're going through right now is not just a shift? It's a signal, a holy confirmation that supernatural increase isn't far off. It's nearer than it looks. The atmosphere around you may still feel uncertain, but in the spirit, there's no uncertainty at all. Heaven has already spoken, and hell is already trembling. Why? Because this Christmas, you're not just receiving provision, you're being elevated. But what makes this elevation dangerous to the enemy is that it's not starting in your wallet, it's starting in your identity. Before God raises a chosen one's influence, he refines their internal value. This is how the anointing works. It doesn't splash on your title, your salary, or your followers. It saturates your presence. Just like David was anointed king by the prophet Samuel, long before he ever stepped into the palace, you are being crowned within before anyone sees it without. At the time, David went right back to the pasture with the sheep, yet the oil had already marked him. Isn't it the same with you? You may still be in a pasture season, but the oil of destiny is already flowing over your life. That's why the enemy is panicking, because once a chosen one remembers who they are, everything changes. No rejection can destroy you. No delay can discourage you. No betrayal can define you. Have you felt that internal shift recently? That sense that your worth is no longer tied to what people think, to what you achieve, or even to what you lack? That's not just maturity. That's the anointing settling deeper. Your inner atmosphere is changing. Can you feel it? The capacity inside you is expanding. The things that once intimidated you no longer shake you. The people who once manipulated you can no longer access you. There's a new weight on your words, a new boldness in your silence. Even in stillness, your spirit feels louder. You're not becoming arrogant. You're becoming anchored. Look at Jesus. Before he ever performed a miracle or taught the crowds, he grew in wisdom, in stature, and in favor with both God and man. That inner development, years of quiet formation, wasn't a delay. It was divine preparation. And the same thing is happening to you. The world may not fully see it yet, but your spirit is stepping into the version of you that hell has feared for years. The version who knows their authority. The version who doesn't settle. The version who walks into a room and shifts the entire atmosphere without needing to say a word. Have you noticed lately how people respond differently to your presence? How your discernment has sharpened? How your tolerance for mediocrity has decreased? These are not small things. These are signs. You are becoming someone whose voice dismantles lies, whose ideas unlock solutions, whose hands carry healing, and whose heart has been broken and rebuilt by God Himself. This isn't just elevation, it's transformation. And transformation always carries weight. Look at Paul. Before he became a builder of churches, he was Saul, a destroyer of them. His transformation was so intense that even his name changed. But before he ever wrote the letters we now call Scripture, he spent years in obscurity, allowing God to rewire his thinking, his identity, his authority. Could your own quiet season be preparing you for that kind of breakthrough? Or take someone like Denzel Washington, highly respected not just for his talent, but for the quiet spiritual authority he carries. He once said that he prays every morning and reads the Bible because you have to fill up on spiritual food. His success didn't come merely from skill, it came from knowing who he was and whose he was. Could that same deep knowing be the foundation God is building in you now? The enemy isn't afraid of what you're doing. He's afraid of what you're becoming. That's why the pressure has been relentless. That's why the resistance has felt so personal, because your identity has been redefined. And with that new identity comes divine access. Access to rooms you once felt unqualified to enter. Access to influence you once feared. Access to impact that no platform alone could ever give you. So, chosen one, breathe. You are almost through the fire, and what's emerging on the other side is someone unshakable, unstoppable, and deeply rooted in divine identity. This Christmas, heaven isn't wrapping gifts for you, it's revealing you. Comment, "I'm next," if you know this word was for you. Chosen one, can you sense the shift happening within you? The version of you that's quietly rising, the one forged through wilderness, waiting silent seasons, and divine refinement, is not just another version. It's the fulfilled version, the one heaven has been preparing all along. This isn't sudden, it's sacred. For years, God has been cultivating something rare inside of you, and now that it's ready, hell is losing its grip. The enemy cannot contain what has matured under pressure. And this Christmas, God is placing divine spotlight on what you carry, because the world can no longer afford to ignore it. You're not stepping into fame, you're stepping into function. You're entering a realm where your voice will be heard, your gift seen, your calling recognized. The days of being hidden are ending. not because you push to be seen, but because heaven has decided the time is right. Your presence will no longer be overlooked, and your anointing will no longer be reduced to background noise. Why now? Because what you carry is no longer just potential, it's power. The book of Proverbs declares that when someone is skilled in their work, they will stand before kings. And in Scripture, kings don't just represent royalty. They symbolize influence, access, and the unlocking of future-defining opportunities. This is the level you're rising into. Can you imagine what happens when your excellence collides with divine timing? That's what's being activated now. Your name is being whispered in rooms your feet haven't even entered yet. Conversations are happening about your work, your voice, your value, without your permission, without your presence. But this time, it's not gossip, it's heaven's alignment. God is orchestrating divine intersections where your gift will meet the exact platform, purpose, and people it was created to serve. What you've been praying for in silence is now being magnetically drawn to the weight of your anointing. Let me ask you, have you felt that deep pull lately? That sense that something is coming, even if nothing on the outside has shifted yet? That's not false hope. That's the Spirit confirming what your eyes haven't seen, but your spirit already knows. I remember when I was in a season of obscurity, creating, building, hoping, but no recognition came. The silence felt like rejection. But what I didn't realize was that God wasn't just preparing me, He was preparing the audience. Because when the stage is divine, even your delay is strategic. Think of Joseph. In one single day he was pulled from a prison cell and stood before Pharaoh. His gift of interpreting dreams had matured in the dark, long before it was rewarded in the light. He didn't need a campaign, a platform, or a title. He needed permission from heaven. And when heaven endorsed him, the world had no choice but to respond. What if that's what's happening to you right now? Some of you are about to receive phone calls that shift everything. Opportunities that seem too big. Doors that were once firmly shut now swinging wide open. Not because you begged for them, but because God authorized them. Just as Esther was placed in the palace for a time such as this, you too are being positioned ahead of the need. Because what's rising in you is the solution someone has been praying for. This is divine visibility, but not for vanity. This is influence, activated by obedience. What once felt small is about to carry global impact. Your creativity was never random. Your ideas were never ordinary. They were holy seeds, planted in obscurity, watered with tears, and buried under the soil of delay. But now the appointed time has come. And just like the mustard seed in Jesus' parable, though small when planted, it becomes the largest in the garden. Your impact will far exceed your beginning. Think of someone like Tasha Cobbs Leonard. Her worship gift was cultivated in private rooms before the world ever heard her voice. But when the time came, her anointing didn't just entertain, it broke chains. Could your gift be destined for that kind of freedom-carrying impact? And yes, this is why the wait was so long. Why others were promoted ahead of you. Why it seemed like the spotlight passed over you. It wasn't rejection, it was preservation. Because if the world had seen you too soon, they would have mishandled what was still being formed. Now, heaven has determined the demand for what you carry is rising, and the supply is finally ready. This is your emergence, chosen one, not a moment of vanity, but a moment of assignment, and the earth is about to witness what heaven already knows. You were born for this. Type, I receive, if you know this is your time. Chosen one, lean in, because this Christmas isn't just a holiday for you. It's a holy turning point. Heaven has already decided. This is the beginning of your financial expansion. That's the real reason why the spiritual warfare around you has intensified. Hell isn't shaking because of what you lost. It's trembling because of what you're about to receive. You were never designed to survive off one paycheck forever. You were not born to live under ceilings. You are far too richly anointed, too uniquely gifted, and too full of divine purpose to be confined to a single stream. Can you feel it? That restless tug inside you, that quiet ache that refuses to settle, that holy discomfort that keeps rising in your spirit. It's not anxiety, it's not frustration, it's the sound of heaven whispering that your season of multiplication is near. Could it be that what feels like pressure is actually the birth pangs of financial breakthrough? You carry too much spiritual cargo to remain in financial limitation, too much vision, too much favor, too much divine fire to keep operating in scarcity. God isn't just increasing your income, He's expanding your impact. The kingdom requires more from you, so heaven is releasing more to you. And just as the widow in 2 Kings chapter 4 had only one jar of oil left, yet saw that small supply multiply into enough to pay off her debts and secure her future, God is about to do the same with your resources. He's not just adding to you, He's multiplying through you. This is why the enemy has been attacking your finances so aggressively, not because of what you have right now, but because of what you're on the brink of stepping into. Have you noticed how every time you get close to financial progress, a delay or unexpected expense seems to hit? That's not a coincidence, that's warfare. Because the enemy knows, when a chosen one becomes resourced, they become dangerous. When your income multiplies, so does your reach, your generosity, your voice, and your ability to transform lives. That's what hell fears, your full activation. Look at Peter. His nets were empty after a long night of toil, but with one instruction from Jesus, cast your net on the other side, he experienced an overflow that broke his limitations. Or think of Joseph, forgotten in a prison, but in just one day, he was elevated to the palace and given control over Egypt's entire economy. One day, one decision, one divine endorsement. Could your moment be that close? I've seen this happen personally. A friend of mine, a struggling single parent with a passion for design, had been creating quietly for years, never seeing much fruit. Then suddenly, one of her designs was featured by a major influencer. Within a week, her online store sold out and her inbox flooded with wholesale offers. It wasn't a lucky break. It was a divine appointment, built on years of faithfulness in silence. Isn't that what you've been doing too? I remember in my own life, seasons where I tithed, even when my bank account whispered, "You can't afford this." But I did it anyway, not because I had a surplus, but because I had faith. And somehow, in ways I can't explain logically, there was always just enough. Now I understand, it wasn't about the money, it was about the foundation. And that foundation is what God builds abundance on. What once felt small, your ideas, your talents, your efforts, is about to carry supernatural weight. Your quiet faithfulness is turning into public favor. Your sacrifices are being translated into supply. The late nights, the budget stretching, the obedient giving, it was all seed. And the harvest is now beginning to break through the soil. This is about more than money. It's about momentum. It's about mission. It's about heaven funding what you were born to build. That's why God is breathing on your creativity, your strategies, your obedience. The doors that are about to open won't just bless you. They'll bless others through you. Your increase is missional. And that's why hell is terrified. Because you're not just being blessed, you're becoming unstoppable. Not because of who you know, but because of who knows you. God is the one clearing the way. And when He endorses a chosen one, no system can stop them. If this word resonates deep in your spirit, don't scroll without declaring it. Type, "I'm ready," in the comments and agree with heaven's timing. Chosen one, prepare yourself. Not just for celebration this Christmas, but for supernatural circulation. You're not merely entering a festive season, You're stepping into a divine economic shift. Multiple income streams are being aligned with your assignment. Opportunities you never even applied for are being discussed in rooms you haven't walked into yet. Creative ideas are being stirred awake in your spirit. Ideas that will not just inspire, but produce. Doors you didn't knock on are swinging open, not by coincidence, but by divine choreography. Why is this happening now? Because God is shifting your entire financial atmosphere. And hell? Hell knows it can't stop the flow this time. What's coming isn't luck or hype, it's prophetic alignment. The drought you experienced wasn't your death. It was the depth where hunger for more was planted. All those dry seasons where you questioned if God had forgotten you. They were soil for the roots of vision. The financial pressure, the disappointments, the cycles of just enough. They weren't punishment. They were preparation. And now the resistance is cracking. The barriers are falling. What once blocked the blessing can no longer hold back the flood. Do you remember the promise in Malachi where God says He will open the windows of heaven and pour out blessings too great to contain? That wasn't a metaphor for encouragement. That was a blueprint for overflow. And now you're stepping into that promise, not because you chased prosperity, but because you chose obedience. This isn't about greed. This is about godly growth. You're not entering overflow to show off. You're entering it to sow forward. Can you feel the shift in your spirit? That pull towards something bigger than bills, bigger than just surviving. You will no longer live near the cliff of financial anxiety. You're leaving behind the edge of barely enough. What's ahead is abundance, not by striving, but by supernatural favor. And here's what terrifies the enemy the most. You won't be dependent on one source ever again. You won't be chained to broken systems, unstable employers, or false promises. You're stepping into divine diversification. Multiple streams flowing from heaven's storehouse into your life. Some of these streams haven't even been revealed to you yet. They've been hidden in plain sight, waiting for this appointed time. That's how God works. He doesn't just release wealth. He reveals why you need it. He gives resources connected to assignment, not comfort alone. He's not just dropping deposits into your account. He's building pathways through you that bless generations. Can you imagine being the vessel through which others find breakthrough? Just like the widow in 2 Kings 4, who obeyed Elisha's instruction and kept pouring oil until there were no jars left, your obedience will unlock continuous supply. As long as you stay surrendered, your oil won't run out. Your hands will build ideas into impact. Your words will open doors even your resume couldn't reach. Your vision will magnetize divine partnerships. Your faith will give shape to strategies, and your obedience will unlock abundance. And I've seen it firsthand. A friend of mine, deeply faithful, was laid off right before Christmas. At first, she panicked, but in the stillness, God birthed a business idea she had shelved for years. She started with almost nothing, but within months, that small seed was bringing in more than her old salary. She said to me, "I thought I lost stability, but I gained destiny. Could this be your moment too?" What's happening isn't just multiplication through your effort, it's divine intervention. Heaven is breathing on your creativity. Angels are clearing space ahead of you. Kingdom doors are being unlocked, not just with keys, but with your name already written on them. And yes, hell is panicking, because what once blocked you can no longer resist what God has set in motion. The oil is flowing, the jars are being filled, and your hands are being positioned for kingdom movement. If this word confirmed what you've been sensing all month long, quietly type "overflow" in the comments, and let it be your agreement with heaven. Chosen one, take a deep breath and receive this in your spirit. Heaven is not simply watching from a distance. You are being moved, not just spiritually, but practically. Right now, there is motion in realms you cannot see. God is shifting your job, altering your income streams, expanding your reach, and unlocking doors that were once tightly shut. Your favor is rising like the morning star, piercing through darkness, announcing your arrival into a new chapter. Hands you've never shaken are preparing paths for you. Rooms you haven't entered are already speaking your name. Can you feel it? That tug in your spirit that says, something is shifting. It's not just hope, it's activation. Your hands are being anointed to build what once seemed out of reach. Your creativity is being elevated beyond the ceilings of your past. Your calling, the one God etched into eternity before you ever drew breath, is being awakened. And hell? Hell is in disarray. Because what once dismissed you is about to honor you. What once underestimated you is now being commanded to make room. Heaven is moving on your behalf, even in places your feet have never stood. There are meetings happening right now where your name is being spoken with respect. Decisions are unfolding that align with your future, even before you're aware of them. You are stepping into divine momentum, a pace not built by hustle, but by heaven's hand. Resistance is turning into recognition. Delay is dissolving into sudden release. What once blocked you is now preparing a seat for you. What once overlooked you will soon say, "We need you." This time will not be like the last. This breakthrough won't slip through your fingers. This increase won't fade after a season. Why? Because this time it is God Himself who is speaking over your life, over your career, your calling, your finances, and your future. And when God speaks, cycles don't just bend, they break. Do you remember when Jesus stood outside Lazarus' tomb? He didn't touch the stone. He didn't plead. He simply spoke. "Lazarus, come forth." And death had no choice but to release what belonged to life. In the same way, God is now speaking to everything in your life that's been trapped, buried, overlooked, and it must respond. Your buried gifts, your dormant dreams, your blocked flow, they are being called forth. When heaven decrees, no system, no boss, no gatekeeper can resist. When God's voice goes ahead of you, even the assignments sent to destroy you are flipped into platforms to elevate you. This is not a season where you have to fight to stay afloat. This is the season where you walk on water, where you move in confidence, where you step into promises fulfilled. I've seen it in my own life. There were moments I was passed over for promotions, overlooked in rooms I knew I was called to contribute to. But I've also seen the power of divine timing when suddenly, without campaigning or trying harder, I was invited in. Because when it's God's season for you, nothing can hold it back. You don't force your way in. You're positioned. Chosen one, this is the Christmas the enemy feared. Not because of gifts or lights, but because you finally realized God's plan has outrun the enemy's attack. You've endured the silence, you've stayed faithful in obscurity, and now the alignment is here. This is the moment where your steps sync with your scroll. Your yes aligns with His voice. Your faith catches up to His favor. If your spirit knows this was for you, whisper it into the comments and write, "It's my turn." Let that be your agreement with what heaven is already doing. Chosen one, step into this moment with your spirit wide open, because you are now entering a supernatural season where only one voice holds final authority over your life. Not the voice of people who didn't see your worth. Not the voice of bosses who passed you over. Not the voice of broken systems, of unstable economies, or even the lingering echoes of your own painful past. Only the voice of God matters now. And this Christmas, His voice is echoing loudly across the heavens, and hell is shaking beneath its sound. When God speaks, it's not casual, it's creative. His word doesn't just describe reality, it reshapes it. What was once sealed is suddenly opening. What was dry is starting to overflow. What seemed immovable is now shifting. What was stuck in delay is being rushed into release. Every no that blocked you is now being rewritten. Every door that slammed shut is now on divine hinges, opening without effort. Heaven is actively rewriting the chapters of your life that once felt like dead ends and turning them into entrances. Can you feel it yet? The places in your life that once whispered impossible are now being touched by divine authority. Your job, covered in favor. Your income, marked for increase. Your creativity, your hands, your vision, your decisions, even your daily steps are being blessed in rhythm with heaven's assignment. And it's happening without striving, because this isn't your doing. This is divine speaking. And here's what silences hell. Nothing can undo what God is doing next. No demonic interference can cancel it. No flawed institution can delay it. No jealous voice can mute it. No unexpected circumstance can reverse it. Why? Because when God speaks, His word becomes law in the spirit realm. Just like the rain does not return without watering the earth, His word will not return void. It must accomplish what it was sent to do. Think of when Jesus stood before the tomb of Lazarus. The stone was heavy, the situation seemed hopeless, the people had already given up. But Jesus didn't argue with death, He overruled it. He simply said, "Lazarus, come forth," and death obeyed. Chosen one, God is now speaking your name in the spirit realm. He is not waiting for permission. He is commanding resurrection over every part of your life that felt buried. Your finances, your future, your calling, your courage. And just like no grave could keep Lazarus bound, no fear can hold you back. No timeline can deny your appointed hour. No system can deny what heaven has already stamped with approval. When God says go, no one can say stay. When He says rise, no one can say wait. I've seen this unfold. A friend of mine struggled for years in a corporate job where she was overlooked again and again. But the moment she surrendered her identity to God's voice instead of human recognition, everything changed. She received an invitation, out of the blue, to lead a project at a level far beyond what her resume said she qualified for. And yet, she thrived. Why? Because God's voice had gone ahead of her and made a place only she could fill. Could this be your moment too? This is why hell is panicking, not because of a holiday, but because this Christmas is not just about a manger, it's about a move. It's about the eternal Word made flesh still speaking through time and calling forth the destiny of the chosen ones. It's about you, stepping fully into alignment with the voice that created the galaxies and still whispers your name in the night. If you can feel this divine movement in your bones, gently write, "I hear Him," in the comments, and let heaven know you're listening. Chosen one, the reason you've been feeling so spiritually alert, waking up in the middle of the night, sensing a shift in the atmosphere, feeling waves of emotion without explanation, is because something is being announced in the spirit realm. Heaven is not quiet right now. There's a declaration echoing across dimensions, and it has your name on it. The warfare you faced, it wasn't random. It was a response to that announcement. This Christmas isn't just a season, it's a signal that what was once hidden is now being unveiled. What was once dormant in your life is being summoned forth. Gifts you buried under disappointment, dreams you silenced to survive. Parts of you that were once vibrant but dimmed by rejection, all of it is being reactivated. Have you felt that stirring? That divine discomfort that says, something's coming and I need to be ready? That's not anxiety, that's awakening. Think about how the shepherds in the field were going about their normal lives when the angelic host broke through the silence of night to announce the birth of Christ. They weren't in the temple, they weren't performing rituals. They were simply in position, and because they were awake, they were among the first to witness the miracle. What if that's where you are now? Positioned, obedient, ready, and heaven is about to reveal something glorious to you. Not because you demanded it, but because you endured. You've walked through fire. You've been tested. You've had seasons where it felt like no one saw what you carried. But this is not the season of being overlooked. This is the season of being activated. What you carry cannot stay buried any longer. And that's exactly why hell has tried so hard to exhaust you, so that you would sleep through your moment. But you won't. Not this time. Because God has been strengthening your discernment. You're seeing things differently, hearing more clearly, trusting more deeply. This version of you is not fragile, it's forged. And heaven is responding to the fire you didn't run from. Just like the wise men followed the star, not knowing every step, but knowing who was calling them, you've been walking by faith, not always understanding, but always obeying. And now, chosen one, that star is settling over your life. The world may not know what's rising in you yet, but all of heaven does. If you feel this awakening stirring in your soul, type AWAKE in the comments and let the atmosphere know you're ready. Chosen one, let me ask you something deep. Why do you think you felt so disconnected from the things that once satisfied you? Why do the old comforts no longer comfort, the old patterns no longer fit, and the old circles no longer feel like home? It's because God is detaching you from what's behind you, so He can usher you into what's ahead. You're being spiritually unclothed, not to leave you exposed, but to robe you in new glory. This Christmas, you are not being reset, you are being recommissioned. You're not being stripped down to lose identity. You're being prepared to walk in your original assignment. The one heaven wrote before earth ever knew your name. Just like Moses had to leave Egypt, like Abraham had to leave his father's house, and like Mary had to carry a miracle others didn't understand, you too are being asked to carry something holy through a season that feels uncomfortable. Can you feel the weight of that? The tension between where you've been and where you're going. That pressure is not punishment, it's the contraction before delivery. And what's coming through you is not small. It's generational, it's prophetic, it's disruptive in all the right ways. You were never meant to blend in, and that's why this Christmas feels so different. Because something holy is happening in you, not just around you. I remember a time when I felt like everything I had built was being undone. Friends drifting, finances stretched thin, vision blurred. It felt like a slow unraveling. But now I see, it wasn't destruction, it was divine distinction. God was separating me for something He hadn't shown me yet. Could that be what's happening to you too? Don't mistake divine detachment for abandonment. When God prunes a branch, it's not because it's dead, it's because it's alive and destined to bear more. That's what this is, a spiritual pruning for prophetic fruit. And as you walk through this holy discomfort, know this: the weight you're feeling is the glory you're growing into. You're not behind schedule, you're right on time. The silence, the strange dreams, the sudden distance from familiar people, it's all part of heaven's choreography. You're being hidden, not because you're forgotten, but because you're being prepared to be revealed. Chosen one, if this resonates with what you've been walking through silently, drop the word prepared in the comments. Sometimes just writing it down is your way of telling the spirit realm, I see it now, I won't fight it, I'll flow with it. Chosen one, can you feel the tension in the air? Not the tension of fear, but the tension of something about to break open. There are moments right before heaven moves when time feels suspended, when everything in the natural slows down, but your spirit begins to accelerate. That's where you are right now. The stillness you're experiencing isn't stagnation, it's sacred positioning. And the reason your sleep has been interrupted, your thoughts stirred, your heart so tender, it's because heaven is preparing to release a promise long overdue. This Christmas, you're not waiting for gifts under a tree. You're positioned for a release from heaven's throne. And what's coming won't fit inside a box. It's too big, too eternal, too prophetic. You've been sowing in silence, obeying when it didn't make sense, trusting God through closed doors and quiet delays. And now, just as Hannah cried out in the temple year after year before Samuel was born, your cries have reached the throne, and God is moving. Can you imagine the moment the angel appeared to Mary? She wasn't expecting it. She wasn't praying for fame or promotion. She was simply faithful in obscurity. And yet, heaven interrupted her ordinary with a word that would change eternity. You are favored. You will carry something the world has never seen. Chosen. 1. What if this is your moment of divine interruption? What if this Christmas isn't just a date, it's a delivery? I once heard a pastor say, "You don't need a stage to be significant, just a word from God." That stuck with me, because we often look for signs in the natural, but some of the most supernatural seasons begin in total quiet. That's where your transformation has been happening, in the hidden, in the wrestle, in the wait. But now the silence is starting to break. The promises that felt delayed are now finding expression. The doors you forgot you knocked on are being opened by hands you didn't know were listening. The prophecies you tucked away are waking up like seeds under snow, ready to rise. The enemy thought the winter would kill your faith, but heaven used it to protect your harvest. Chosen one, this isn't just your season of reward, it's your season of recognition. God is recognizing your private faithfulness, and He's about to make public what you've been carrying in private. The world is about to witness the unveiling of someone who didn't give up in the dark. If deep down you know something is shifting and you're done hiding from it, let heaven know by simply writing, "I'm ready to be seen," in the comments. This might be the first time you declare it out loud, but don't hold back. What's ahead requires your bold agreement. Chosen one, something unusual is happening around you, and even more so within you. The tension you've been feeling is not resistance, it's reversal. The pressure has not come to break you, but to birth you. You're no longer just standing at the edge of change, you are standing at the threshold of release. The spiritual atmosphere is pregnant, and what's about to emerge from your life will silence every voice that doubted your assignment. This Christmas, God is not just giving you revelation, He's giving you permission. Permission to move forward, permission to stop shrinking, permission to stand in the full weight of your mantle. You've asked for clarity, but what God is handing you now is authority. This is no longer about understanding every step. It's about obeying the call that won't let you rest at night. Do you feel that fire rising again? The boldness returning to your voice? The hunger to take the risk, speak the truth, start the thing He placed in your heart long ago? That's not your ambition talking. That's your spirit remembering what God already said. Just like Joshua, who stood before the Jordan, not with all the answers, but with all the instructions, you are being asked to step where the ground hasn't yet appeared. It takes faith to walk on water, but it takes greater faith to walk when all you have is a word and the memory of God's past faithfulness. Let me be honest, there were moments I tried to quiet this same fire. I told myself, now isn't the time, I'm not ready, maybe later. But the more I delayed, the heavier the pressure became. Because when you're chosen, delay doesn't bring relief, it brings unrest. God's call doesn't fade, it intensifies. Could this be why you've been feeling that unexplainable tension lately? Not because you missed your moment, but because your moment is now staring you in the face. And here's the thing the enemy hoped you'd never discover. You don't need everyone to approve it. You just need heaven to speak it. And heaven already has. The same God who spoke over David when he was still in the field. The same God who called Gideon a warrior while he was still hiding. The same God who whispered to Elijah in the cave is now speaking over you. And His voice is louder than fear. Chosen one, you are no longer waiting for the right season. You are the season. What you're carrying is not for next year, it's for now. The acceleration is real. The atmosphere is shifting. The angelic activity around your life has increased because divine movement is in progress. Don't resist it. Don't explain it away. Don't hide the oil. If this word caught you right in the middle of your hesitation, write "no more delay" in the comments. Let that be your sign to heaven and hell alike. You're not shrinking this time. Chosen one, let's be real. This has not been an easy year. You've battled in silence, given when you had little, obeyed when it cost you everything, and stood when others would have collapsed. And yet, here you are, still standing, still faithful, still hungry for God. That's not just survival, that's evidence of spiritual resilience. You didn't make it here by chance. You were carried by grace. And now, grace is not just carrying you, it's crowning you. Heaven has been watching your endurance, but now heaven is responding with elevation. Everything that was delayed is being drawn into acceleration, not because of your effort, but because of your alignment. Just like Daniel, who kept praying behind closed doors until the angel arrived with this message. From the first day you set your heart to understand, your words were heard. Your obedience has triggered a release that's already in motion. But here's the mystery. While others celebrate with gifts they can see, you're being handed something eternal, a responsibility that looks like a risk, a blessing that comes dressed in obedience, a door that looks too big for the key you're holding. But chosen one, what if the key is your yes? What if all of heaven is waiting not for you to figure it all out, but simply to agree with God? There was a woman I once prayed with who had been offered a business deal that terrified her. She didn't feel ready, didn't feel qualified, but she said, "I felt like God had already answered my prayer. I just had to stop arguing with the form it came in." She accepted it in faith. 1 year later, her obedience had multiplied into provision for her family and opportunities for others. The blessing came when she chose alignment over fear. What about you? Could that unfamiliar opportunity be the open door you asked for? Could the very thing stretching your faith be the delivery vehicle of the promise? Could the fear be a sign that you're standing on holy ground? Christmas is not just the celebration of a birth. It's the confirmation that God keeps His word, even when the world isn't ready for it. Mary didn't get applause, Joseph didn't get clarity, but they carried the promise anyway. So do you. You're carrying something sacred, and the world may not understand it, but that doesn't make it any less real. Chosen one, don't shrink in this moment. Don't wait for perfect clarity to take prophetic steps. If your spirit is stirring right now, don't second guess it. You've prayed for God to move, but now He's asking you to move. If this spoke directly into the part of you that's been quietly wrestling, comment, "I'm moving with God" below. Sometimes movement starts with the smallest public agreement. Chosen one, the reason your spirit has been so sensitive lately, the reason you can't seem to go a day without sensing the weight of something shifting, is because the spiritual realm has already moved, and your life is catching up. There is a divine countdown ticking in the unseen, and every delay, every detour, every moment that felt like nothing was happening was actually timing being perfected. There are moments in history where heaven does not wait for approval, it just moves. The birth of Christ was one of them. No one on earth was truly ready for it, not Herod, not the priests, not even Joseph. And yet, it came. It interrupted everything. Could it be that something is about to interrupt your life? Not as a disruption, but as divine fulfillment. The Lord is sending what you prayed for, but not always in the wrapping you expected. Some blessings will arrive disguised as stretching. Some doors will look too heavy to open until you touch them and realize they're already unlocked. That's what happens when you walk under favor. Things that were hard for others suddenly respond to you with ease. Have you noticed it already? People drawn to your voice, unexpected invitations, unexplained peace in the middle of pressure. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. Even the chaos you've experienced leading up to this season, it's not random. Before Jesus performed his first miracle at the wedding in Cana, there was lack. The wine had run out, shame was looming, but what looked like an embarrassment became an opportunity for glory. Jesus didn't just fill the jars, he made the best wine last. What if your lack is setting the stage for better than expected? I remember when I nearly gave up on a dream I had carried for years. Nothing was moving. Every attempt felt forced. I thought I had missed it. But then, without warning, someone brought my name into a conversation that opened a door I never could have forced open myself. And I heard God whisper, "This is why I made you wait, so they'd know it was me, not you." Chosen one, don't resent the quiet. Don't despise the waiting, because in the silence, your name is being spoken. In the stillness, angels are being dispatched. In the background, heaven is preparing public honor for your private obedience. And maybe you've never commented before. Maybe you've just been watching, quietly nodding behind your screen. But if something in this message has echoed what you felt in your spirit all month long, then take a simple step. Whisper it out loud in the comments. It's unfolding. Not for show, not for likes, just as a faith marker. Let this be the moment you mark the shift you've been sensing. Heaven's already moving. This is your response. Chosen one, this is the season where hidden things are being revealed, and not just in the world around you, but inside you. The version of yourself that heaven designed before you, wherever wounded by this world, is rising to the surface. The bold one, the obedient one, the one that doesn't second-guess what God whispers in the dark. This Christmas isn't just about the promise being fulfilled around you. It's about the person you're becoming in the process. The enemy fought your identity long before he ever touched your finances or your relationships. Why? Because he knew if you ever discovered who you really are, nothing could stop you. That's why so much of your life has felt like confusion, contradiction, and delay. But it wasn't chaos, it was refining. God has been stripping away every false label, every old narrative, every lie spoken over you by people who didn't know your worth. And now, what's emerging is pure, anointed, unstoppable. Can you feel the shift in how you see yourself? You're no longer asking for permission to shine. You're no longer begging for people to understand you. You're not waiting for external validation to confirm an internal calling. Just like Jesus, who didn't need to prove himself in front of Pilate, you've already been proven in the wilderness. Think about Gideon. When the angel of the Lord appeared to him, he called him mighty warrior. Even though Gideon was hiding in fear at the time, God didn't speak to who he was acting like. He spoke to who he truly was. Chosen one, God has been doing the same with you. He's been calling you blessed while you still felt broken. He's been calling you ready while you still felt raw. He's been calling you rising while you still felt buried. Because heaven doesn't speak to the surface. Heaven speaks to your truth. This Christmas, it's not just your season, it's your summons. The earth is groaning for the manifestation of the sons and daughters of God. And you're one of them. That stirring you felt isn't restlessness, it's recognition. Heaven is calling you out of hiding, and your obedience is about to shift everything. If you've ever felt unseen, unqualified, or underestimated, but deep down you know God has chosen you for more, then pause right here and gently type, "I'm who he says I am." Don't say it for them, say it for you. Let the heavens echo what hell hoped you'd never believe. Chosen one, the weight you've been carrying in silence, it's about to be exchanged for divine demonstration. God never wastes pain. He never allows pressure without purpose. And what felt like crushing in your spirit was actually heaven's hand shaping your authority. The oil on your life wasn't born in the spotlight. It was formed in the hidden place, pressed out through trials no one else saw. And now, the pressing is producing something public, not for your ego, but for God's glory. That's why this Christmas feels heavier than others. You're not just waiting for breakthrough, you're becoming the breakthrough. God is shifting you from prayer warrior to promise carrier, from intercessor to influencer, from hidden vessel to revealed voice. This is the season where closed doors will open, not because you force them, but because God is walking ahead of you. And He doesn't knock, He commands access. Just as the walls of Jericho fell without Israel touching them, some of the barriers you've been up against will collapse, not by your strength, but by your obedience. That's the miracle of favor. It doesn't make sense to man, but it makes movement in the spirit. Have you noticed lately how things are beginning to align? How people who once overlooked you are suddenly drawn back to your presence? How what used to take you months of striving now happens with ease and clarity? These aren't coincidences, these are signs. Your atmosphere has changed, you've crossed over. And just like Ruth stepped into Boaz's field at the right moment, guided by nothing but obedience, you too are stepping into something prepared specifically for you. What looks like a simple opportunity may actually be a lineage-shaping alignment. Don't overlook the small door. It might open to a destiny-sized room. I've experienced this myself, being led to something that didn't look grand, but ended up being the divine setup for the next chapter of my calling. The shift didn't begin with applause. It began with alignment. The right moment, the right surrender, the right yes. So now, I ask you gently, what is your spirit saying yes to, even if your mind doesn't fully understand it? What have you been sensing that feels bigger than what you feel ready for? If this spoke directly into that place in you, the place that's been quietly waiting for confirmation, go ahead and drop the words, "This is my confirmation." Sometimes heaven just needs a whisper of agreement to release what's already prepared. Chosen one, lift your head, because the shift is no longer coming. It's here. The countdown in the spirit has reached 0. The gates are opening. The scroll is unrolling. The announcement has been made in heaven. And now it must manifest on earth. This isn't just a shift in atmosphere, it's a shift in authority. You're not entering into blessing as a beggar. You're stepping into it as a rightful heir. This is your crossover moment. This is your Red Sea parting. This is your Jordan River drying up beneath your feet. What held others back will not hold you. What swallowed others will carry you forward, because your obedience, though tested, has triggered a divine eruption. God is not just moving you to a new level. He is unleashing you as a weapon. There is a roar in the spirit right now. Heaven is thundering over your life. Touch not my anointed, do my prophet no harm. Every lie spoken against you is being shattered. Every chain sent to restrict you is breaking. Every demonic force sent to confuse or delay you is now under judgment. You are not just walking into freedom. You are being commissioned as a liberator for others. This is why the warfare was so violent. This is why the delays felt so unnatural. Because the enemy knew, once you reached this moment, he couldn't stop you anymore. Hell's influence had an expiration date, and that date is now behind you. Just as David went from shepherd to giant slayer in one divine moment, your promotion will not be subtle. It will be sudden, it will be seen, and it will be sealed by heaven. You're not being elevated to impress. You're being elevated to execute divine assignments. God is positioning your voice where it will shatter confusion. Your hands where they will build what hasn't existed. Your feet where they will claim ground the enemy thought was his. And this isn't just a breakthrough, it's a breaking open, a tearing of the veil, a moment where the spiritual and natural collide. What you carried in silence is now coming into visibility. What you nurtured in warfare is now being celebrated in victory. This is not just a testimony, it's a divine takeover. Chosen one, you're not stepping into your next season quietly, you're stepping in backed by the armies of heaven. So if your spirit feels the fire, if your chest is burning because something inside you knows this is it, then let it be known. Don't overthink it. Shout it in the comments. I'm stepping through the gate. Let every watcher, heavenly and hellish, know the chosen one has heard the call, and you're walking through. Chosen one, as we bring this word to a close, take this moment and let it settle deep into your spirit. You were never waiting for something small. The weight you've been feeling wasn't about survival. It was preparation for supernatural arrival. What God is releasing this Christmas isn't just a blessing, it's an unveiling of who you truly are. We live in a time where the world is distracted by noise, fear, and the next breaking headline. But in the middle of that chaos, God is quietly moving His chosen ones into divine position, not on stages or platforms, but in hearts, in homes, in private moments of surrender and obedience. That's where the kingdom rises. And you are part of that rise. I want you to know this. You haven't missed it. You haven't been forgotten. If anything, you've been hidden for such a time as this. While the world was sleeping on you, heaven was working through you. And now it's time to step forward. The door is open. The gate is unlocked. The oil is flowing. Christmas this year isn't just about celebrating what was born in Bethlehem. It's about awakening what's been buried in you. And from my own heart to yours, I don't share these words as someone who has it all figured out. I share them as someone who's walked through the silence, the delay, the waiting room of heaven. And yet every time God moved, He moved bigger than I could have dreamed, and always right on time. I believe with everything in me, He's doing the same for you. So don't scroll away without leaving your voice in this moment. If this message spoke to your spirit, drop a comment, whether it's I receive, I'm ready, no more delay, or simply Amen. Let heaven see your agreement. And if you know someone who needs this word, send it to them. You never know whose spirit is hanging on by a thread until a prophetic word sets them free. If this word blessed you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to this channel for more prophetic and spiritual insight, and share this with someone you love. And to those of you who've supported this channel through Super Thanks, your generosity means more than you know. You help make it possible for messages like this to reach the people who need them most. May God multiply your seed back to you in ways you didn't expect. This isn't the end of your story. It's the turning of the page. You were born for this moment. And this Christmas, you're stepping into it fully. Until next time, stay grateful, stay grounded, and never forget, you are chosen.